Hello and welcome to this Monday edition of the World Report, viewers. I'm Arjun Samad Mahindran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. Speaking to reporters aboard the Air Force One, Trump has said that the United States could quickly raise tariffs if India does not address Washington's concerns. Now, while issuing the warning, Trump also struck a conciliatory note, calling PM Narendra Modi a good guy and saying that India wanted to keep him satisfied on trade matters. Now, Trump has underlined the US has already imposed tariffs of up to 50% on India. Now, these include penalties linked to Russian crude oil imports. The comments come as India-US trade faces pressure, with Indian exports to the US reportedly falling sharply in recent months amid higher tariffs. Listen in.
Short term in Venezuela?
Well, it depends, what you're talking. We have to do one thing in Venezuela, bring it back. Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back, and we're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure.
I believe that what he did with India is the chief reason India is now buying substantially less Russian oil. So I hope we pass this bill soon. And after this,
they wanted to make me happy, basically. He wanted to. Modi's a very good man.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He knew I was not happy, and it was important to make me happy. They do trade, and we can raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be very bad for them.
And asked who's in charge of Venezuela, US President Donald Trump answered, "Don't ask me. It's controversial. We're in charge." Now, Trump has doubled down after the US strike on Caracas, saying a US helicopter was hit but recovered with no casualties. He's further called Venezuela a, quote, dead country, unquote, blamed years of misrule and said US oil companies are ready to rebuild Venezuela's shattered infrastructure. Now, these remarks come as Trump issues big warnings threatening a second strike even on Venezuela, telling Mexico to get its act together and also warning neighboring Cuba may be close to collapse. Though he says the military action may not be needed. Now, this comes even as Secretary of State Marco Rubio insists the US will not run Venezuela day to day, stressing pressure through an oil quarantine and not occupation. 2 days into regime change, reactions remain split. Support from Israel and France, condemnation from the likes of China and Russia. Meanwhile, satellite images show strike damage at the Fort Tuna complex. Trump has warned interim leader Delcy Rodriguez. Vice President Vance calls Venezuela a cartel hub, while Venezuela's military backs Rodriguez, accusing Washington of civilian deaths.
In charge of Venezuela right now. Have you spoken to the newly sworn-in president there, Rodriguez? And what are your thoughts on the entire situation? You said the U.S. would run Venezuela.
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
Meanwhile, viewers, my colleague Vishal Vivek spoke to exiled Venezuelan political activist Jorge Rodriguez, who's in fact been living in Miami since 2018 and has been subject to political persecution by the now captured Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro. Listen in.
Now that Maduro is gone, he's out of the equation, what is your plan now? The fact that Maduro's government is still quite intact, his allies are still there, top 4 people are still in the government. What are your plans now?
Yeah, that's a good point that you brought, because a lot of people, a lot of American readers and people all over the world assume that because since Maduro is gone, a lot of people are thinking that Venezuela is already free and it's a safe country. That's certainly not the case so far. Hopefully it will be. We had an amazing victory, but we hadn't. It is not over yet. Basically, the second in the line of command, who is Maduro's illegitimate vice president. Her name is Delcy Rodriguez. She's the one in charge inside Venezuela now. So we will see how they're going to be behaving. I have read that President Donald Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, apparently they are maybe a little optimistic, and they believe that they are going to be able to influence her and actually use her as a tool to start rebuilding Venezuela without finding a lot of internal opposition from our armed forces, like military forces and police forces. I hope they're right. I'm skeptical because I have seen firsthand how all these people behave. I don't believe it's going to be, even if they wanted to, it's not easy for them to give up power because they are basically a drug cartel. And the moment they let the United States, take control of different things inside the country, well, they're going to see their drug operation being disrupted, and their partners, their international partners, and even their internal partners are not going to be happy about that. So I think Delcy Rodriguez is currently facing either two options from my point of view. She either complies and try to cooperate as much as possible with the United States, with the risk of facing, some sort of internal crisis, or she either stays loyal to the status quo. She doesn't do anything to comply, but then she might be facing a second, attack from the United States. So it's not an easy position for her to be in, but certainly Venezuela is not. It's not over. Like it's not like I can return right now. I don't have the certainty that if I return, I won't be, put in prison. Actually, I still have a lot of friends who are captured, who are in prison, and they haven't really released them. There are a lot of you have this paramilitary group named Colectivos, which is basically a bunch of civilians who carry long weapons and terrorize society to avoid political opposition. Those groups are patrolling the streets of Venezuela to avoid, the masses from taking the streets and start, basically, they don't want them to be celebrating what happened. So there's a lot of chaos right now inside Venezuela. People are still fearful. So it's not over. We had a massive victory, but there is still a long road to walk through. Yeah.
Well, you heard the exiled political activist there, Jorge Cecilia, detailing what he intends to do now that Maduro has in fact been captured by US authorities. Meanwhile, viewers, here's a report detailing the subsequent U-turn taken by Washington after Maduro's capture and where things, more importantly, currently stand. Take a look. A special forces and intelligence operation that sent shockwaves across the globe. One of the world's most powerful dictators, Nicolas Maduro, overthrown by the US. Less than 2 days after an unprecedented attack on their country, Venezuelan leaders remain defiant. Venezuela's Defense Minister Vladimir Pedrino has demanded the release of Maduro, arguing that he is still the rightful leader of the South American country. In a sharp U-turn, the US says it would not govern Venezuela day to day. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio says America is not at war with Venezuela, just 1 day after US forces struck key targets and detained Maduro and his wife. Pedrino paints a starkly different picture, claiming a large part of Maduro's security team was killed, along with what he calls innocent civilians during the US operation. On the other hand, the Venezuelan army backs interim President Delcy Rodriguez, a move that raises serious questions about who truly controls the country. President Donald Trump has issued a blunt warning, telling the Atlantic that Rodriguez will pay a big price if she does not do what is right. On the streets of Venezuela, fear and uncertainty dominate. Citizens worried about whether a peaceful transition of power is still possible. Meanwhile, Maduro and his wife are expected to appear in court on Monday. Even as Venezuela braces for what could be its most dangerous political crossroads yet. Vishal Vivek for NDTV World. Stay with the US viewers, where a young Indian woman reported missing in Maryland on the 2nd of January has been found dead. And cops say her former boyfriend is responsible. 27-year-old Nikita Godishala of Elliott City was reported missing on the 2nd of January. Howard County cops say she was found deceased inside an apartment in Maryland's Colombia belonging to her ex-boyfriend, who happens to be 26-year-old Arjun Sharma. Investigators alleged Godishala was killed shortly after 7 p.m. on the 31st of December. Police say Sharma filed the missing person report, then fled or left the United States for India the very same day. Authorities, meanwhile, have issued a warrant charging Arjun Sharma with first and second degree murder. Now, as the investigation remains ongoing, the Indian embassy over in Washington, D.C. has also said it is extending all possible support to the victim's family. Shifting our focus to West Asia, where Iran has installed a banner threatening the US and Israel that they could have their soldiers killed if they take military action against the country. Now, the banner installed near the former Israeli embassy in capital Tehran contains graphics showing coffins draped in Israeli and American flags. The banner read out the text, "Watch out for your soldiers." Meanwhile, Trump and top Iranian officials exchanged dueling threats on Friday as widening protests swept across parts of the Islamic Republic. Now, this exchange further escalating tensions between the countries. This after America bombed Iranian nuclear sites in June this year. At least 30 villagers have been killed and several others are missing after gunmen raided a village in northern Nigeria. The attack marks the latest in a cycle of deadly violence in the conflict-hit region. The gunmen stormed a village in the Borgu local government area on Saturday and opened fire on residents. According to police spokesperson, they also razed down the local market and several houses as well. At least 2 residents put the death toll at 37, saying it could be much higher. This as some people still remain missing. Locals are also saying that security forces are yet to arrive in the area, contradicting a police claim that they have already deployed officers to search for those missing or kidnapped. Hundreds attended Mass on Sunday to honor the victims of the New Year's Eve fire at a bar in the Swiss Alpine resort of Crans, Montana. The fatal fire, which in fact left 40 dead and many severely injured. Somber mourners, many with reddened eyes, filed silently out of the chapel to organ music after the hour-long mass. Many hundreds of people, viewers, some even cradling flower bouquets, walked in the dense snaking procession in the sunlight past shuttered stores. We get you more.
Au drame du Nouvel An, il n'y a pas de mot assez fort pour exprimer la souffrance des victimes, des familles, de leurs proches. Il n'y a pas de mot assez fort pour exprimer le désarroi, l'angoisse, la colère de celles et ceux qui aujourd'hui sont frappés dans leur existence. Et pourtant, nous sommes ici, rassemblés, parce que le silence seul ne suffit pas.
We now shift our focus to East Asia, where Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi co-chaired the 7th round of China-Pakistan Foreign Minister Strategic Dialogue in Beijing on Sunday. Now, viewers, the talks were held with Pakistani Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Mohammad Ishaq Dar. Wang said that China and Pakistan have forged an ironclad friendship amid volatile international situations. On the other side, Dar said Pakistan reaffirms its commitment to the One China principle and will continue to firmly support China on all its core interests. North Korea has said that leader Kim Jong-un observed test flights of hypersonic missiles and underscored the need to bolster the country's nuclear war deterrent. The move comes as the country dials up weapons displays ahead of its major political conference. According to Korean news agency, Sunday's drill involved a hypersonic weapon system. The practice was meant to examine its overall readiness in case of a conflict. Viewers, in Zimbabwe, a crash hits every 15 minutes, while 5 die and 38 are injured every single day. According to national statistics, and road crashes rank among the top killers, while road accidents fatality rates are among the continent's worst. Zimbabwe has one of Africa's highest road accidents fatality rates, with the World Health Organization or the WHO estimating nearly 30 deaths per 100,000 people. Take a look at what Zimbabwe's Traffic Safety Council has to say on this.
On average, 38 people are injured on our roads every single day. On average, every 15 minutes, there is a car crash in Zimbabwe. For such a small population, those numbers are alarming.
A heavy snowstorm descended on central parts of Bosnia on Sunday, causing havoc across many regions and its highways as well. Now, in the capital, the traffic was brought to a standstill as over 70 centimeters of snow fell within several hours during the day. Some of the main highways connecting the north and the south of the country were in fact blocked for hours at length as snowplows were deployed to clear the snow, as you see right there on your television sets. Meanwhile, some remote villages were left without power on Sunday. And well, with that, it's time we step into a short break, viewers. Much more lined up on the other side. Needless to say, don't you go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers. On to updates from the world of technology and business now, where Samsung Electronics plans to double the number of its mobile devices with AI features powered by Google's Gemini. Now, the move would give the US firm an edge over its rivals as the global race in AI heats up, or continues heating up, so to say. The South Korean company, which had in fact rolled out Gemini-backed AI features to about 400 million mobile products, plans to boost that figure to 800 million by 2026. The plan by the world's largest backer of Google's Android mobile platform is set to in fact give a major boost to its developer Google as well.